Hey everyone, how's it going? So the other day, my friend and I were walking, heading to the library of all places. It's funny, we both had this urge to go study something, to learn something new, but neither of us knew what. We were just walking, brainstorming, throwing ideas around, and nothing was sticking. We get to the library, and right near the entrance, there's this big, beautiful display. It was covered in pictures of celebrations from all over the world. There were photos of vibrant carnivals, solemn anniversaries, and all sorts of festivals. People were eating specific foods, drinking special drinks, all tied to a certain time of year, or even a specific day. We just stood there for a minute, looking at all these joyful, meaningful moments. And my friend turns to me and says, just figuring out where all this comes from. That would be interesting. I totally agreed. How did we, as a species, decide that this day is for this and that season is for that? Where do these traditions, these cycles of celebration and remembrance actually begin? It's like a hidden map of human history and belief. We started talking about how you'd even begin to study something that big. It's not just history. It's culture. It's psychology. It's everything. He said, it feels like you'd have to start by studying the theory of knowing everything. I laughed, but he was serious. He continued, I've heard that we're all just light, that we're spirit beings having a human experience. And that's when it clicked for me. I looked at him and said, do you mean the history of spirituality itself? His eyes lit up. Yes, exactly. Tell me about that. I've heard all these names thrown around. Like Sophia, Gaia, Yaldabaoth, those archons and the 7 deadly sins, Enoch, Constantine. All of it. Where does it all connect? And that's what we're going to dive into today. It's a huge, sprawling, and absolutely fascinating topic. We're going on a journey to trace the roots of spiritual thought, from ancient myths to the structures that shape our world today. Let's start with some of the oldest ideas, concepts that come from Gnosticism, a collection of ancient spiritual beliefs. In many Gnostic traditions, the story of creation is wildly different from what many of us are taught. It begins in a realm of pure spirit, a place of perfection called the Pleroma. At the top is the ultimate unknowable God. From this source, pairs of divine beings, or eons, emanate. One of the last and, in a way, most curious of these eons was named Sophia, which means wisdom in Greek, Sophia, in her deep desire to know the source of all, acted alone, without her divine partner. This act, born of a passionate but imbalanced wisdom, resulted in a flawed creation, a sort of shadow entity. This being, unaware of the spiritual realm above, believed it was the one and only God. His name was Yaldabaoth. He's often depicted as a lion-headed serpent, an arrogant and ignorant creator. This is the demiurge, the craftsman of the physical world we inhabit. So, according to this view, our material universe wasn't the intentional masterpiece of a perfect creator, but a kind of cosmic accident, a flawed copy of a divine reality fashioned by a lesser, ignorant God. Yaldabaoth then created a host of helpers known as the archons, or rulers. These beings were tasked with governing the material world and keeping humanity trapped within it, ignorant of their true, divine origins in the Pleroma. These archons are often linked to the concept of the 7 deadly sins. The idea is that each archon presides over a specific human failing: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. They use these tendencies to bind human spirits to the material realm, distracting us with physical desires and emotional turmoil, preventing us from remembering our true home and our spiritual nature. It has a powerful metaphor. Our own inner struggles are seen as external forces trying to keep us asleep, spiritually speaking. Then there's the figure of Gaia. While the name is more associated with Greek mythology as the primordial goddess of the earth, the concept fits perfectly into this spiritual puzzle. In many earth-based and pantheistic beliefs, Gaia is the planet itself, a living, conscious being. She is the source of all life, the ultimate mother. In the context of our Gnostic journey, you could see Gaia as the very stage upon which Yaldabaoth's drama unfolds the beautiful, breathing, living prison created for humanity, yet a prison that still holds the echo of a higher divinity. The Gnostics believed that sparks of Sophia's divine light were trapped within creation, hidden within certain humans. So, the earth, Gaia, is both a cage and a vessel of divine essence. Now, where do figures like Enoch fit in? The Book of Enoch is an ancient Hebrew apocalyptic text ascribed to Noah's great-grandfather. Enoch, while not part of the standard biblical canon for most denominations, it was hugely influential on early Christian and Jewish thought. The book describes Enoch's journeys through the heavens, where he's shown the secrets of the cosmos, the nature of angels and demons, and the future of humanity. He's a messenger, a human who pierced the veil between the material and spiritual worlds. For the Gnostics, Enoch was a perfect example of a human who achieved gnosis, that secret, intuitive knowledge of the divine. He didn't just have faith. He saw and experienced the spiritual realms firsthand. He learned about the archons and the structures of control they had put in place. His story provided a kind of blueprint for spiritual awakening, showing that it was possible for a human to transcend the limitations of the material world, created by the demiurge, and reconnect with the true divine source. This brings us to a major turning point in our spiritual history, the Roman Emperor Constantine. For the first few centuries, Christianity was a diverse and often persecuted collection of different beliefs. There were many gospels and many interpretations, including the Gnostic ones we've been discussing. Constantine changed everything. In the 4th century, seeking to unify his vast and fractured empire, he adopted Christianity as the state religion. But it couldn't be just any Christianity. It had to be a single, unified, and organized version. In 325 AD, he convened the Council of Nicaea. This was a gathering of bishops from all over the empire to standardize Christian doctrine. They debated the nature of God, decided which texts would be included in the official Bible and which would be excluded. Books like the Book of Enoch and many Gnostic Gospels were deemed heretical and suppressed. This is a pivotal moment. The fluid, mystical, and personal quest for gnosis, central to Gnosticism, was replaced by a structured dogmatic religion controlled by a central authority, the Church. The idea of Yaldabaoth, the flawed creator, was replaced by the concept of an all-powerful, all-good God, and the source of evil was shifted to a fallen angel. Satan, the archons, and their rule of the material world was simplified into the concept of demons tempting humanity. Constantine's actions essentially created the blueprint for Western institutional religion as we know it today. Spirituality became less about personal, direct experience of the divine and more about faith in a prescribed set of beliefs administered by a priesthood. The focus shifted from escaping the material world to navigating it according to a set of divine laws in hopes of a heavenly reward after death. The history of spirituality, in many ways, became the history of the institution that Constantine helped create. So when we look back at those pictures in the library, the festivals, the anniversaries, the traditions, we can see the echoes of this entire epic story. The cycles of the year, governed by solstices and equinoxes, were once seen as the breathing of Gaia, the movements of the cosmos. The idea of fasting or feasting can be traced back to concepts of mastering the physical appetites that the archons used to control us. The struggle between good and evil, light and dark, spirit and matter, it's all there, encoded in our oldest stories and our most enduring celebrations. What began as a personal journey for Sophia, a quest for knowledge, fractured into a material creation. What was once a direct, personal path to gnosis, as shown by figures like Enoch, became a structured religion, solidified by emperors like Constantine for the sake of order. The rich, complex tapestry of early spiritual thought, with its eons and archons, was ironed out, simplified, and woven into a narrative that could unify an empire. And here we are, thousands of years later, walking into a library, feeling an instinctual pull to understand it all. That pull itself might just be the spark of Sophia within us, the echo of our true spiritual nature, curious about its own origin story, wondering how it ended up in this beautiful, chaotic, and mysterious world. It's a history not just of gods and emperors, but of the human spirit's relentless quest for meaning and connection. What an incredible rabbit hole to fall down, right? From a simple walk to the library to the creation of the cosmos. I hope you found this as fascinating as I do. There's so much more to explore here, so many other paths and beliefs we could follow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.